But I remember I was really, really scared throughout the entire day because no one was really telling me what was going on. I didn't know if she had gotten hurt, if she fell, if like what happened. No one was telling me.
So thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your mom and just your mom.
So my mom was a nurse. I'm actually wearing her nursing uniform right now.
Yeah. That's just, yeah.
Yeah. So she was a nurse for a really long time. I can't tell you exact dates. All I know is it was a long time.
Right.
And she worked at Morristown Memorial or Morristown Medical Center now, but she knew it as Morristown Memorial.
Right.
As an ER nurse there, she really impacted a lot of lives. She impacted my life. I mean, she was my mom. She was my best friend. She just was like one of the most inspirational people in my life. She just had this like drive that no matter what, she would keep going and going, no matter who came in her way. And I mean, everyone in the ER, like I hear stories from doctors and everyone in the ER is just like, your mom was like one of the most well-respected nurses at Morristown. Like there would be doctors that would be tell their residents, you don't listen to me. If Mrs. Lawlor tells you to do something, you do what she's telling you. Wow. She knows what she's talking about. Like,
wow.
So she's like my biggest inspiration. And it's definitely really weird now,
right?
Like being at school and not having her to talk to and stuff like that. But she was diagnosed with brain cancer when I was in 7th grade. She had a seizure in January and they found a tumor on her brain. And that's kind of like when her nursing career stopped. And I think that that's when I realized that I wanted to make an impact on someone's life the way that she made an impact on someone's life, like so many people's lives. Just because it was so hard for her not to do the one thing that she loved most in the world, which was nursing. And I mean, I talk to my dad about it all the time. We were like, well, maybe it's a good thing that she passed in 2019 and not 2020, because if COVID happened, no matter what, we all know that she would be the first person there. And even if it wasn't safe for her too, she would be there helping people. And,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about when you first found out, right? The object of this is that we're hoping to have other young people out there who are going through similar circumstances feel like they're not the only one who's going through it. And B, just help them feel like it's okay to have the feelings they have.
Yeah.
Which are not always pretty feelings.
Yeah.
Right?
I can attest to that.
Exactly. And that it's okay, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to sugarcoat for them that, you're supposed to have these nice, neat feelings that make sense. In fact, it's quite the opposite.
It's not going to make any sense.
Exactly.
I mean, I still don't know how I'm supposed to feel, why I'm supposed to feel, what I'm supposed to feel.
Right. And that's okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your feelings when you first found out that she was ill. How did you feel? What happened? How did you find out?
So I remember this day very vividly. It's something that has it's like, there's a thing that's called like your 4 core memories. Okay. And I feel like this is definitely one of my 4 core memories.
Right.
It was a Friday morning and I had to get up to go to school. And I remember waking up and my mom and my dad not being there. And my grandpa, my Jaji, was there. And he was downstairs and he was sitting in the living room. And I went downstairs and I asked where my parents were. And he said, we had to take your mom to the hospital. Something happened. I don't really know what's going on. We'll get more information as we see it, but you just need to go to school. And when you come home from school, we'll have some answers. But I remember I was really, really scared throughout the entire day because no one was really telling me what was going on. I didn't know if she had gotten hurt, if she fell, if like what happened. No one was telling me. And I remember my dad sat my brother and I down and he said, we need to talk to you about something. Your mom's getting brain surgery on Monday. They found a tumor on her brain. She had a seizure this morning. And I remember I was really scared, like really, really, really scared because at that point in time, I've watched Grey's Anatomy. So I was a
Kevin's
big
favorite
fan.
show right now.
Yeah. And so it was like scary because like I saw what happened on the show and it was really scary. But I remember we prayed together and that was something that helped me kind of go through it a little bit more. The tumors had come back on and off for a couple of years afterwards, but summer 2018 was the year that she had to get surgery again.
Right.
And I remember that was the moment that I realized that I did not have as much time as I thought. And that was really upsetting and really scary to me.
Right.
Because I was 16 years old at that time and I was getting ready to apply to college.
Right.
And I had an issue with one of my, they're no longer a friend, but it was someone that I thought was my best friend.
Wow.
Just something had happened with that and there was some drama with that. And so I was going through all of that. And then on top of it, I was losing my mom.
Right.
And like, it was really, really hard. And I went on a lot of trips that summer with like my church and just with friends and stuff like that. But I spent as much time as I possibly could with my mom because I knew that I didn't have as much time as I thought
you
I
would
did.
love to, right?
And like throughout the entire school year, my junior year. So I guess you could say 2 years ago now
Right.
too. That was definitely like a recurring feeling, like being scared, being anxious, being nervous, being upset. I was angry a lot of the time, especially in like May and June. And like over the summer, I was really, really angry.
Yeah,
and
Devin definitely had that.
Yeah. It was something that like I had a lot of resentment. I was like, why is this happening to our family?
Exactly.
I was like, my parents have been nothing but good people. Like my dad was at ground zero. My mom was a nurse. Like Liam is the sweetest kid I've ever met in my entire life. Even though he's not really nice to me, I know that he's nice.
He is.
And I was like, I like to think that I'm a good person and I like just always help people and I'm always there for people, even if they're not there for me. So I had a lot of resentment for like the universe. I was like, why is this happening to me? And also junior year was really hard. It was junior year of high school. Like I had to take the ACT and the SAT and stuff like that. And I had a lot of resentment towards the fact that it had to happen during my hardest year of high school too.
Now let's talk a little bit. You mentioned it briefly, how your faith or your connection to church helped you with that. Because I think that a lot of young people your age now, there are quite a few who aren't really into the church thing anymore.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about how that helped you kind of get through, obviously, a very difficult year.
I don't know if it was just some weird coincidence or if it was God's way of telling me that I'm going to be okay. But every sermon that my pastor would preach on Sundays, I feel like I could relate to. And I was like, this is crazy because like he would be preaching and I'd be like, wait, I
know exactly what you mean. I experienced the exact same thing.
I was like, wow, like this is actually like what I'm going through right now. And this is what I needed to hear. And my faith has definitely been something that I've struggled with in more recent years. So like when I got to high school, especially in June 2019, I had a lot of anger towards God. I was losing my faith a little bit. I was like, I hate God. I hate him. Like, why would he do this to me? Why would he do this now? I was like, she doesn't even like, I was so mad. And I remember my dad started getting me to go to church again because I didn't want to go. And I was like, I can drive myself. You can't tell me if I can or can't go because I have a car and I can drive myself. And he was like, okay, I'm not dealing with this. Like he was like, no. But he started being like, okay, well, you will lose your car privileges if you don't go to church. I'm with him. And yeah. And I mean, I'm grateful that he did that because it helped restore my faith in God. And this past year, I grew really, really close to a lot of my friends, like through church. And they've all just been there for me since day one. And the church has always been there for me. And my pastors have been there for me. And I turn to them and text them when I'm going through something. And I'm like, hey, do you think we could set up like a Zoom call or something like that? Like, I'm really like having a break of faith right now. I just want to talk to you or someone.
Right.
And I don't know, like church has just always been something that's been a really, really, really big part of my life. And I pray all the time.
Right.
I pray to God. I pray to Jesus. I talk to God. I talk to Jesus. I talk to the Virgin Mary sometimes, which sounds crazy, but I'm like, maybe she'll guide me in the right direction. But I definitely, like, I'll be like sitting in my room and I'll like my dorm room at school, and I'll just be like talking to God. I'll be like, hey, like,
that's awesome.
This is how's it going?
That's
like,
awesome.
Please, like, help me through this, guide me through this. I know you can do it.
Right.
So,
well, that's awesome. That's great to hear. And I'm sure that was her prayer.